Hey everyone, my name is Nico now, and let's create a series of 3D learning projects together. Don't feel intimidated with the complexities of 3D letters because I will be guiding you through the process step by step. Today's project is going to be a 3D block letter style wherein each letter is going to be at a different angle, different rotation, and we're going to bring them all together to have a fun, interactive layout like this. So for this style, the outline of the letters are going to be visible and it's going to be in a thick black stroke. And we're just going to color the different faces of the letters as well as the 3Ds in different colors, alternating colors to create a fun lettering piece like this. We'll be using the 3D letter builder brushes to easily create the layout guides for this project. Don't worry if you don't have the brushes. I've prepared downloadable guides for you to use to follow along the process. Just check the link in the description below. So for now, let's dive in. First, create a new canvas and type in your word using any font that you like, or you could draw the letters by yourself, any lettering style that is bold and thick so that it's going to be easier for you to read the letters. For this one, I used a simple sans serif font and typed in the word create. And the next step is actually to draw the outline of the letters using any monoline brush. Since that process is going to take a long time, I don't want to bore you in this video. That's why I have already drawn the individual letters. If you're just starting, I suggest you pause the video here and draw the outlines of the letters before proceeding with this video. So now let's work on them individually, but before that, let's hide up all the layers first and create a new layer on top to create our 3D guides. So let's choose maybe the color red so that our 3D block guides is going to be in a different color. So let's go to our 3D pack, and at the top, the second category, you have the 3D blocks. So we are going to use the 3D block brushes right here, or stamps. So before we jump into creating this amazing lettering piece, let me just explain a little bit of the technical parts so that you'll be able to understand and know how you're going to use these brushes. So first of all, each block, or most of the brushes here under the 3D block category, they have a block version and a double level block version. So for example, the rotating 3D blocks, so you have rotating 3D blocks right here. You also have a double level version right here. Difference is that you have an additional layer. This is for letters. If you want to have an inner depth, so you can use that as a guide to have consistent depth in different arrangement for your letters. Let's quickly zoom this in. So you'll see for each block, you have a solid line that is for the front facing of the letter. And then the back part is going to be where you're going to move the duplicate, and it's going to be the back side of your 3D letters. And then you have these connecting lines, diagonal lines at the corners. So these will show how thick your letters are going to be if you are going to use these blocks as guides. And you're going to use that as reference because all the connecting lines, or the 3D lines of your letters, you need to follow that exact angle and exact length. Another important thing to note here is beside each name, you'll notice an arrow. So for these, an arrow facing the right. So for some of these, arrow facing diagonal. So that arrow shows you how you should use or in what direction you should brush in these guides. So with the rotating block, it's horizontal, so that's how you're supposed to use it. Let's clear this. For example, for the rising 3D blocks, it says that it's supposed to be diagonal. So we're going to draw it diagonally like this. But first, let me just make the size smaller, like this. And they're already designed with the correct angle so that when you hold your finger, it's going to snap into the correct angle like this. So you don't really have to manually arrange the letters anymore, because you could just hold and use the lock angle to get the right angle. So yeah, so that's what the arrow beside the name is for. For example, this vertical pile 3D blocks, it says here it has a downward arrow, so let's add it vertically like this. Oops. Like this. Hold it, and then you could just adjust it vertically there. So those are like the little details of this brush pack that will help you use them very, very well. So for these, sometimes you have rotating blocks like this. So the good thing about this is you could just keep on brushing until you get the right combination of arrangement that you want, or you could tap and then tap. If you don't like the arrangement, undo, tap, and then you could just tap it until you get the arrangement that you want. All right, now let us start creating this project. So we're going to be using dynamic 3D blocks. Yes, let's use dynamic 3D blocks and then just brush in, oops, 6. We need 6, C-R-E-A-T-E, yes, C-R-E-A-T-E. If you're happy with this arrangement, you can use it as is. If not, you can undo that and create a new one. Or you can just tap one at a time. Until you get one that you want. Yeah, I think this is nice. So let's center that. There. Easy, right? We just tap, 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 and we could assemble our own interesting arrangement for the letters. So now let us start creating 3D effect for each letter. So first one is the letter C. Again, I always like to duplicate my, oops, not delete, duplicate my layer just so that I preserve the original design just in case I mess up and I need to adjust something in the future. So let us now move this right here. So for this one, you don't really need to fit it exactly like that. That's not how you use this path. But what you should do is use this as a guide for the rotation and for the thickness. So for this one, we are going to rotate this. So make sure the bounding box have the same angle. So like this, if you move it like this, see the top and left part is already aligned. That's what we want. After this, what we have to do is pick a corner on our letter. For example, this corner right here. And then we're going to position it to one of the corners of the guide. Like that. All right. Next is, we're going to duplicate that and move it here. So from here, the corner is from here. We're going to connect it there. Like that. That's how we do it. Okay. So if you feel like that's going to be too thick, what you can do is you could just make your 3D guides a bit smaller. Okay. Then just reposition these letter C's. So the point is going to be there and the other point is going to be there. Or here. Like that. Perfect. And after that, let's switch to black and switch to our monoline pen. Monoline pen right here. Okay. Perfect. Oh, let's make this a bit smaller. So it's going to have the same length as that. Okay. So now we are going to connect the lines. So here to here, let's connect this like that. connect this to this. Okay, so if you're not sure what to connect or how to connect, so just check the corners. So this is going to be the top part, right? So we don't need to connect this in this because it's not going to be visible anyway. So this one, connect the corners. It's not going to be visible anyway, so we don't have to do that. But this corner and this corner, it's going to be visible. So connect it like that. And for curves, if you're not sure how to connect it, what you can do is just draw the line from the corner to corner like this, like that. Edit it and just, oops, corner to corner like this. Edit the line and then just move it and to the point where it touches both sides perfectly like that. That's how you use it. Okay. When everything's done, this is the top layer, right? Select the top layer, choose automatic selection. Just select the inside. Then after that, select the back layer using 3 fingers, circular motion to clean it out. There you go. That is going to erase all the unnecessary lines, and then you just have to clean up a little bit more. Just the lines that your initial erase didn't get. So there. Like that, and lastly here. Yeah. Now we have our letter C in 3D. So we're done with our first letter. We can now merge these two. Perfect. Next is the letter R. So for the letter R, the good thing about this is it has a sharp corner. So this is going to be easy, but before that, let's duplicate so we don't lose the original letter. Oops, hide it. So here, again, we're going to rotate. We don't need to resize. Again, we don't need to resize to fit in the shape. All we have to do is to align it, align the angles like this, and put the corner here on our guide. Perfect. After that, duplicate that, and the base layer, just move it to this corner of the guide right there. Perfect. Now, let's connect the edges, so corners. So connect the corner to corner right here. Connect the corner to corner right here. Okay. Corner. Since this is going to be the top face, right? So this is not going to be seen. If you connect it like this, you have to erase it again later. So just connect. Oops, I accidentally adjusted the opacity. So just connect the corners to corner like that. Corner to corner. Corner to corner. Oh, this one is not going to be visible, so let's just erase that. Corner to corner like this. Corner to corner. But it's going to hit here, right? So what you can do is corner to corner. Just move this, edit that line, and move it to the right position around here. Okay, then when you're done, but before that, let's bring the opacity down a bit so that it's not too harsh. So when we're done, we can select the top layer, use automatic selection, select the front face, and then select the back layer and 3 fingers erase. That way it's going to help you clean up the unnecessary lines. Now let's just erase the rest of the unnecessary lines like that. This one isn't needed, so let's erase that. And then this one, erase it here. And erase that like that. Perfect. And now have our 3DR. You can now merge that and move on to the next letter, which is the letter E. So let's duplicate that. And since it has sharp corners as well, so it's going to be easier for us to position this. So just adjust it. Make sure it has the same angle as the guide right here, which we were able to fit perfectly. So we're going to duplicate this and move it to the corner right there. So the bottom one, move it to the corner like that. Perfect. So this is the front, this is the back. So now let's use our brush to connect the corners, the visible corners. Just connect the corners. Since E is composed of only straight lines, it's going to be easier for us to connect the corners because there are no curves. Yeah, I think that that's it. So select the front one, select the area, go back to the back layer and erase. So now we can see the other brushes or the other lines that we need to erase here. And lastly, this one, I think we are done. There, we are done. You see the letter E? So there we have it. Merge it, hide it, move to the next letter, which is the letter A. So again, let's just rotate this. Oops, I accidentally adjusted the sides. So for this one, be sure not to align the A or like the edge of the A because the A is diagonal, right? You want to align the bounding box right here. Like that. Okay. And then duplicate that with the bottom layer, move it to the corner right here, and use the brush to connect the corners. Make sure you don't forget any of the visible lines. I think this is the last one. And then we're going to select the front layer, select the area, go back to the back layer and erase. Now let's manually erase the unnecessary lines, which is this one. This one. Right, okay, perfect. Then this one more. And we're all good for the A. Can now merge this and move to the next letter, which is the letter T. Okay, rotate this to the right angle. I think this is the correct one. I love it when you get it on the first try. Duplicate, select the bottom layer again, and move it all the way here, like that. And then use the brush to connect the corners. All of the visible corners. Select the T, the area of the front T, erase the back, like that. Now you can see that this is an extra line that we need to erase. This one as well. Clean this up a bit. And here. Yeah, I think that's it. Merge it, and let's move on to the last letter, which is the letter E. Duplicate that and rotate the duplicate to get the right angle. Yeah, I think this is perfect, right? Perfect. So duplicate that. The one below, move it to the corner and use the brush to draw all of the visible lines by connecting the corner to the corner. Yeah, I think that's it. So select the area, erase, and then just erase the excess or unnecessary lines. Last one. Perfect. Let's merge the letters. And let's now bring out all of our letters. So right now it's going to be jumbled up like that. I mean, what I like to do is I like to preserve those layers, right? So I'm just going to select everything and hold it and move it to the center so that it's going to duplicate a new set of letters. And now we can now hide everything except for the new, what do you call this? The new duplicated layers. Now, let's now move this around to get the nice arrangement that we want. So C is like that. For the R, maybe like this. Then the E, let's move it here a bit. Maybe let's rotate this a bit more. Or let's just swap these two E's. Yeah, maybe this could be the third letter. So it's up to you how you want to arrange them. Then A, T, and E, the last one. Do some final adjustments for the C. Maybe rotate it a bit and move it a bit further, like that. Perfect. Now let's select everything and center it like that. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to assign the levels, like which letter is going to be on top, which letter is going to be below. So I think I want C to be on top, and then A and E next, and then T and E. Okay. But I think that T and E, I want to move this a bit to the left, a bit more, so that it's not going to be covered too much. So I think this is all right. Let me just center everything again like that. Perfect. All right. Now we're going to start to color. So we're going to create a new layer below each letter. Okay. This is what I do so that I can easily change the colors later on if I want to. Now let us select the letter C and switch on reference and select the layer below it. Now let's start coloring. So maybe this color for the cover. Oh, I feel like this is a line that I want to clean. So let me just erase that for a bit there. Much better. And then going back to the layer. So maybe this bright teal for the side. Yeah, like this. Normally on curves, you want to like blend, but for this style, since this is going to be like a flat style, so I'll just choose a different color. So we're going to select this area, the blue one, the teal one, and we're going to draw a circle. Instead of blending it, we're going to draw like a circle like that and color this area. Since it's not letting us color, let me just grab a different brush, maybe a different bigger brush. Oops. Oh, let's just use the same brush with a bigger size, and then let's just color this area in. Like that. Perfect. Oh, it's getting darker. Let me just adjust the lighting a bit. Perfect. Sorry about that. Okay, we're done. And for this part, let's give it the same dark blue since we're facing down. Perfect. Now let's move on to the next letter, which is letter A. So let's reference that layer and select the bottom layer. And let's color this. So maybe a light teal here. and maybe yellow for the base or the bottom parts, like that. And then maybe this blue for the sides. Perfect. Next letter is the letter E, so let's reference that and select the next layer. So I think it's this one, right? So let's color this with the light yellow and maybe some turquoise at the side. Yeah, I think that looks better that way. And maybe the dark blue for the faces down. Okay. You can always adjust the colors later anyway if you think that the colors are not going well together anymore. So let's do that later. But now for the letter R, not click mask, sorry, reference the layer. Select the bottom layer and let's color this. Maybe this face is going to be blue and maybe yellow for the top part. Okay, so again, this has both colors, right? I mean, it has a curve, so we need to cut the color there. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose another color. So let's just use teal and use the pen to select this area and draw a curve manually. Let's just hide the E first so it's easier for us to see. So maybe around here. If that's good with you, start filling in the letter. Like that. Perfect. Now it's time to color the rest. Okay, so the R, I see that there's something here that we need to clean up. So I just cleaned up a bit like that and fix the color of it. Perfect. Bring the E back. Now for the next letter, which is the letter T, reference that and select the layer below it. So let's color the face blue and maybe light yellow on the sides and a more vibrant yellow for the base. Or switch that because the bottom of the A is already the vibrant yellow. There, I think this is a better one. Lastly, for the letter E, so we're gonna reference that layer and select the bottom layer and start coloring. So let's color the face light yellow and the top part yellow and maybe teal for the insides. Okay. I feel like this is lacking some color, so let me just, lacking some darkness, so let me just add that there. I think that looks better, and maybe add it here as well. Oops, sorry, forgot to remove the reference. Okay, change this to darker one so it's not going to be beside the same color. Yeah, I think, yeah, that looks great. And yeah, I think so far I'm happy with this. So if you want to move some letters, feel free to do that now. So for the E, I just want to move this a little bit here. Maybe there. Like that, or no. Yeah, just bring it up a bit. I think I'm fine with this. But first, let's color the background. So for the background, let's create a new layer and add maybe a dark gray color. Like that. That has a very nice contrast, doesn't it? Anyway, the next step is we are going to add in some grains or textures. So on a new layer on top, I'm just going to add, I think I have some green brushes on this graffiti pack. Yes. And then I'm just going to use black and then just add some texture like this. Perfect. So I kind of want to make the black outlines thicker, so I'll just duplicate them twice, each of them twice, and merge them. Duplicate, duplicate, and then merge. Duplicate, duplicate, and merge. You don't have to do this part if you're happy with how intense the lines are. So duplicate, duplicate, and then merge there. And lastly, we're going to add some shadows so that the effect wherein the layers are on front and on top of each others are going to be more visible. So the C is on top of R, so we're going to duplicate the letter C right here and move it to the letter R, clipping mask that, change it to black, so hue, saturation, brightness to none, and then we're just going to move it a little bit, maybe here, and add a little bit of not gradient, but Gaussian blur, maybe about 7, and then just reduce the opacity to maybe 45. Okay, I think the Gaussian blur is too strong, so it has to be just about 2%, and then maybe about 35 or 36% for the opacity there. Next is the letter E is on top of R as well. So we're going to duplicate this letter E, move it down to where the R is, change the hue, saturation, brightness to none, so it's going to be completely black. Move it maybe a bit down right here, and Gaussian blur to 2%, similar to the one earlier, and change the opacity to about 35, 36 there. Next is the letter A is on top of the letter E. So let's duplicate letter A, move it on top of E, clipping mask turned on, change it to completely black by selecting hue, saturation, brightness to none, moving it a bit down here, and Gaussian blur to about 2%. And then about 36% for the opacity, like that. Since A is behind T as well, so let's duplicate that shadow layer and bring it to the top of the letter T. Turn on clipping mask and just move it somewhere, maybe here. Yeah, like that. Or maybe here is perfect already. And lastly, T is on top of E, so let's duplicate the T, move it on top of the E, hue, saturation, brightness to none, and move it maybe slightly down a bit like this, Gaussian blur to 2%, and then change the opacity to about 35. Yeah, there we have it. A fun, playful 3D lettering arrangement. It's so easy to create this fun layout if you have the 3D guides, right? So try to recreate this 3D lettering piece and share it with me at niconang.co. If you don't have the pack, you can download the guides or the worksheets that I've prepared. The link is in the description below. If you want to get the 3D pack, I've also put the link to my website down below. And if you have the pack already, I challenge you to create your own arrangement. You may want to try different 3D blocks included in this pack, and then just try to arrange it and create your own version of this fun 3D playful arrangement. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and make sure to check out the other projects of this 3D lettering series. I'll see you in the next one.